हरे हरे।
Hare Krishna, Hare
जय
Krishna,
श्री कृष्ण।
Madhavaji, Jai Shri Prabhupada, Hare Krishna devotees. Start with Mangalacharan. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshuronmilitamena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarine. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा. Okay, so we'll sing our prayer, Shri Radhikashtakam. Today we are going to celebrate at the center, and tomorrow is the official appearance day of Srimati Radharani. So let's continue to seek her blessings by singing this wonderful prayer. Okay. कुङ्कुमाक्तकाञ्चनाब्जगर्वहारि गौरभा पीतनाञ्चिताब्जगन्धकीर्तिनिन्दिसौरभा पल्लवीशसूनु सर्ववाञ्छितार्थसाधिका मह्यमात्मपादपद्मदास्य दास्तु राधिका गौरविन्दकान्तिनिन्दिचित्रपट्टशाटिका कृष्णमत्तभृङ्गकेलिपुल्लपुष्पवाटिका कृष्णनित्यसङ्गमाथ पद्मबन्धुराधिका मह्यमात्मपादपद्मदास्य दास्तु राधिका सौकुमार्यसृष्टपल्लवालिकीर्तिनिग्रह चन्द्रचन्दनोत्पलेन्दुसेव्यसीतविग्रह स्वाभिमर्शबल्लवीशकामतापबाधिका मह्यमात्मपादपद्मदास्य दास्तु राधिका विश्ववन्द्ययौवताभिवन्दितापि या रमा रूपनव्ययौवनादिसम्पदान यत्सम शीलहार्दलीलया च स यतोऽस्ति नाधिका पादपद्मदास्य दास्तु राधिका रासलास्य गीतनर्मसत्कलालिपण्डिता प्रेमरम्यरूपवेश सद्गुणालिमण्डिता विश्वनव्यगोपयोषितालितोऽपि याधिका मह्यमात्मपादपद्मदास्य दास्तु राधिका नित्यनव्यरूपकेलि कृष्णभावसम्पदा कृष्णरागबन्धगोपयौवतेषु कम्पदा कृष्णरूपवेशकेलि समाधिका मह्यमात्मपादपद्मदास्य दास्तु राधिका श्वेदकम्पकण्टकाश्रुगद्गदादिसञ्चिता वर्षहर्षवामतादि भूषणाञ्चिता कृष्णनेत्रदोषिरत्नमण्डलालिदाधिका मह्यमात्मपादपद्मदास्य दास्तु राधिका या क्षणार्धकृष्णविप्रयोगसन्ततोदिता अनेकदैन्यचापलादिभाववृन्दमोदिता यत्नलब्धकृष्णसङ्गनिर्गताखिलाधिका मह्यमात्मपादपद्मदास्य दास्तु राधिका अष्टकेन यस्त्वनेन नौति कृष्णवल्लभां दर्शनेऽपि शैलजादियोषितालिदुर्लभम् कृष्णसङ्गनन्दितात्मदास्य सीदुभाजनम् तं करोति नन्दितादि सञ्चयाशु साजनम् मह्यमात्मपादपद्मदास्य दास्तु राधिका मह्यमात्मपादपद्मदास्य दास्तु राधिका हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे. श्री राधिकाष्टकम की जय. श्री कृष्णदास कविराज गोस्वामी महाराज की जय. जगत गुरु श्री प्रभुपाद की जय. Okay, anybody would like to read the translation? You want to read? Okay.
Her splendorous golden complexion steals the pride of a golden lotus flower anointed with a tinge of red kumkum. Her sweet fragrance mocks the fame of aroma of a lotus flower sprinkled with saffron powder. She is fully qualified to fulfill all the desires of the son of the king of cowherd men. May Sri Radhika bestow upon me the service of her own lotus feet. Her gazing and colorful silken garments make the splendor of red coral feel ashamed. She is a garden of blossoming flowers, where the maddened bumblebee named Krishna performs enormous pastimes. She worships the sun god daily in order to attain the continual association of her beloved Krishna. May Sri Radhika bestow upon me the service of her own lotus feet. Her charming youthful delicacy negates the fame of freshly sprouted leaves. Her refreshing form is worthy of being served by the cooling moon, sandalwood paste, lotus flowers, and camphor. May she, when she touches the master of the gopis, she dispels the burning heat of his lusty desires. May Sri Radhika bestow upon me the service of her own lotus feet. Although the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi Devi, is adorned by other youthful goddesses who are themselves glorified throughout the universe, still she is nowhere near Sri Radhika in the matter of beauty, praiseworthy youthfulness, or other divine feminine opulences. There is no one in the material or spiritual worlds that is superior to Radhika in the expression of naturally loving pastimes. May Sri Radhika bestow upon me the service of her own lotus feet. She is very learned in many transcendental arts, such as performing in the rasa dance, singing, and joking. She is decorated with many divine qualities, such as loving nature, exquisite beauty, and wonderful garments and ornaments. Even among the cowherd damsels of Vraja, who are praised by the entire universe, she is the best in every way. May Sri Radhika bestow upon me the service of her own lotus feet. She possesses the opulences of eternal youthful beauty, eternal pastimes, and eternal love for Krishna. Her ecstatic feelings of love for Krishna cause the gopis who are also in love with Krishna to tremble. She is always attached to meditating on Sri Krishna's beautiful form, ornaments, garments, and pastimes. May Sri Radhika bestow upon me the service of her own lotus feet. She is graced with 8 static symptoms, Ashtabhava, Ashtavika Bhava, such as trembling, perspiring, standing up on bodily hairs, tears, fluttering of voice, and so forth. She is adored with different static and emotional ornaments such as impatience, joy, contrariness, and so forth. She is decorated with beautiful jewels that give total delight to the eyes of Krishna. May Sri Radhika bestow upon me the service of her own lotus feet. If she is apart from Krishna for even half a moment, she becomes stricken with wretched sufferings, restlessness, and a multitude of other static symptoms of separation. When she regains the association of Krishna after some effort, then all of her anguish immediately vanishes. May Sri Radhika bestow upon me the service of her own lotus feet. It is very difficult for Parvati and other exalted goddesses to attain even a glimpse of Srimati Radharani, who is dear to Lord Krishna. But if someone glorifies her by reciting these 8 verses, then she, who is delighted by Krishna's continuous association, will grant the sweet nectar of her personal service to that person, who thereby enters the assembly of her familiarly delighted girlfriends. हरी हरी बोल श्री श्री राधा रानी की जय, श्री राधे अष्टकम की जय, श्री कृष्णदास कविराज गोस्वामी महाराज की जय. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, so this pure love that Srimati Radharani has, she's the embodiment of purest of pure. Not even 99% or whatever we say here, carat gold. This is beyond comparison. The pure love for Godhead that is there in each one of us because we are part and parcel. As Satchit Ananda, the Ananda that we have, that is the source of that is Srimati Radharani. And that is the dose that Srila Prabhupada is giving to his disciples in Srila Prabhupada Lilamrit. There, even one fraction of a moment of association with Srila Prabhupada transformed their lives, and they're seeing how Prabhupada is transmitting the pure love of Godhead to every sincere soul who's coming in his touch. And like we see, the title of this chapter that we are reading now is the remotest or the remote corner of the world, right? So like that, the pure love, the purity The purest of pure is always hidden, right, like a treasure. So that is there in the corest, the deepest core of our heart. And it is there in each and every one of us. It is just that it needs to be awakened after we cleanse the external um, shell of Maya, shell of all the impurities that we have. And that is cleansed by, like Prabhupada keeps saying again and again, chant Hare Krishna, chant Hare Krishna, chant and hear. So when we do that, it happens. So now he's continuing Prabhupada Leelamrit, and Prabhupada in the remote corner of the world in Gainesville, Florida. And this here we went to Sadhu Sangha in Florida, right? Orlando. So Prabhupada is now in Florida. And he has come here after visiting what yesterday we transitioned from Detroit to he went to Atlanta en route to no, from Detroit first he went to New York, Boston, New York. New York, he initiated more than 100 disciples. And then from there, he has come to Atlanta en route, and there they performed that wonderful play. Devotees asked about the Simply Wonderful. Prabhupada said 5 Ps, right? Our philosophy is wonderful, our prasadam is wonderful, our process is wonderful. And then the devotee said, our Prabhupada is wonderful. And Prabhupada says, our Prabhu Shri Krishna is wonderful. So those are the 5 Ps who are wonderful. And now Prabhupada came to Gainesville, Florida, and he's doing this session at the University of Florida campus, which he has completed. And we saw how Prabhupada was telling that reporter that they cannot teach why, when she asked why young people are involved, he said, why young people go to university? Because that's the age for education. You cannot teach old dogs new tricks. And then this dog started barking. So that was Prabhupada was laughing. So it was almost like Prabhupada saying old dogs cannot be taught new tricks, and the dog started barking. Prabhupada says the dog also wants to talk. Maybe he was a human in the previous life and now he's suffering as a dog. But again, just by hearing Hare Krishna Mahamantra Kirtan, he was blessed. So Prabhupada was laughing later after hearing that lecture again. Okay, so let's continue. Anybody would like to read today? Continue. All right, let me continue. So now Prabhupada is doing this TV interview. Okay. So when the interviewer asked Prabhupada, who is your spiritual master? Prabhupada lowered his head and humbly stated the full name of his Guru Maharaj. Om Vishnupad Paramhamsa Parivajaka Acharya Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada. The interviewer, however, seemed bent on controversy. In what way, sir, may I ask, did you think and do you think right now that the teaching of love of God that you are preaching is different and perhaps better than the teachings of love of God that were being conducted in this country and have been conducted in the rest of the world for centuries? Srila Prabhupada. This teaching is the most authorized. That is a fact. We are following in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya. He is accepted by us according to the authority of Vedic religion to be personally Krishna himself. For example, you are the expert in this establishment. If someone is doing something under your guidance and if you personally teach him, do like this, that is very authorized. So when Lord Chaitanya taught God consciousness, God himself was teaching. Prabhupada had answered positively, avoiding the sectarian dispute the interviewer had invited. Yet, repeatedly the interviewer tried to involve him in a controversy. He seemed to want Prabhupada to appear arrogant, sectarian, and anti-American. Prabhupada, however, insisted he was not opposed to any religion, and that anyone in the world could chant the name of God as it appeared in his religion. Interviewer. But there must have been an element of dissatisfaction on your part with the way Godhead was being professed in this part of the world before you came. Otherwise, there would have been no sense in you being here. Srila Prabhupada. It is not just this part of the world. Practically every part of the world has very little interest in God. They have more interest in dog. Prabhupada's answers were strong and philosophically strong. The interviewer, trying his professional best, again attempted to find some fault. Interviewer. It seems to me, sir, as interpreted in your writings, that there is a very high emphasis placed on the relationship between the individual and God. Srila Prabhupada. Yes, that is found everywhere. Interview. Yes, but you place more emphasis on that relationship than on the relationship between one individual and the other. Am I right in that? Srila Prabhupada. We have to establish, first of all, our lost relationship with God. Then we can understand what is our relationship between one individual and the another. If the central point is missing, then there is practically no relation. You are an American, and another is an American, and both of you feel American nationality because the center is America. So, unless you understand God, you cannot understand who I am, nor can I understand who you are. Interviewer. I think that in this part of the world, in the Western world, we place a great deal of emphasis on religion in the ways it gets one man to deal with another man, the ethic of religion. Now, in the Krishna consciousness movement, Srila Prabhupada, we are not concerned how one man deals with another man. Interviewer, isn't that part of your Krishna consciousness movement? Srila Prabhupada, no, this is not important. Because we know as soon as one knows how to deal with God, he will automatically deal very nicely with others. Interviewer, but let's take the Christian religion for an example. You know the Ten Commandments? There is a heavy emphasis in the Ten Commandments on the relationships between one human being and another. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not kill. You know that sort of thing? Sure, Prabhupada. But I say that Jesus Christ never said and never meant that thou shalt not kill refers to only human beings. Where is that evidence? Jesus Christ never said that thou shalt not kill refers only to human beings. Thou shalt not kill any animal. Interviewer. Any life? Srila Prabhupada, any life. That is religion. Interviewer. It has never been interpreted that way. Srila Prabhupada, you have interpreted it differently, but he said, thou shalt not kill. He never said, thou shalt not kill amongst human beings. Why do you interpret it that way? Prabhupada had given the TV interviewer the very thing he was after, controversy. But because it was not desirable controversy, the interviewer promptly dropped it. Instead, he asked Prabhupada how one could recognize a true follower of Krishna consciousness by his behavior. He'd be a perfect gentleman, Prabhupada said. That's all. Therefore, I prohibit my disciples to eat meat. Interviewer, to eat meat? Srila Prabhupada, yes. And therefore, I prohibit illicit sex life. Therefore, I prohibit intoxication. They do not even smoke. What to speak of other intoxication? When Prabhupada said that whoever observed these 4 rules would become a perfect gentleman, the interviewer asked whether there was a place for women in the religion. Prabhupada replied that women and men had the same rights and followed the same principles. The interviewer asked whether Prabhupada was encouraged or discouraged, and Prabhupada said he was encouraged because so many devotees were joining. The interviewer doubted that many were joining, since out of 200 million Americans, only 2 dozen devotees were present in the TV studio. When you sell diamonds, Prabhupada replied, you cannot expect that everyone will purchase. As a final question, the interviewer asked if Prabhupada had any major complaints about American society. Srila Prabhupada says, I have no complaint. These boys and girls are very nice. I am rather encouraged that these boys and girls are hankering after something nice. They are frustrated. So now, since they have the best thing, they are coming. The interviewer asked Srila Prabhupada and his followers to chant Hare Krishna, and within a half a minute, they were off the air. The hot studio lights went out and the engineers started talking among themselves. The interviewer bid Srila Prabhupada a polite farewell. He had no intention of continuing their talk, but Srila Prabhupada continued preaching. On camera or off camera made no difference to him. He saw the interviewer not merely as a television personality, but as someone to receive Krishna's mercy. The two had been sitting very closely for the interview, and Prabhupada now leaned towards the interviewer and said, let me ask you one question. If you have some disease and you want to cure this disease, what is the best way to go about it? By asking a friend or by going to a medical doctor and asking how to cure this disease? Would you go to a friend? The man replied, yes. Prabhupada shook his head. You would go to a friend? Again, the man said, yes. The interviewer was not concentrating, so Prabhupada patiently repeated his example. Try to understand, he said. If you have some disease, then would you go to a medical doctor or would you go to a friend? The man could not grasp the point, so Prabhupada answered, no, you would not go to a friend. You would go to a physician, one who knows the answer. That is the spiritual master. They talked a while longer, and finally Prabhupada and the devotees left. It was almost midnight, and Prabhupada went to his room. When he had first arrived in Gainesville, he had agreed to initiate the 5 eligible candidates and had even taken their japa beads. But now the day had passed. There had been no initiation, and Prabhupada still had 5 strands of beads. Joseph and Sam, who had come all the way from New Orleans, and David Lieberman and his wife, Adrienne, and a Gainesville boy named Gary were all in anxiety. They had stayed up, talking among themselves, wondering whether Srila Prabhupada would hold an initiation ceremony in the morning before he left. Aravinda told them there would be no time for a ceremony in the morning, but that he would ask Srila Prabhupada when they could have their beads back. He went to Prabhupada's room, leaving the devotees to sit and talk about Srila Prabhupada. When Aravinda returned, he surprised everyone by announcing, Prabhupada is going to give you your beads now. He's going to give you your initiation in his room. The devotees excitedly hurried to Srila Prabhupada's room. Prabhupada sat on his bed. He wore no shirt, only his dhoti, which he had pushed up high on his thighs and tucked under himself like a loincloth or gamcha. His body was smooth and glowing. The devotees sat on the floor around his bed while he held their beads in his hands and chanted. Prabhupada handed Gary his beads. So, your name is now Dharmadas. This means one who is a strict follower of all religious principles. Dharma. I was actually very nervous and I was practically shaking because I was afraid I would do something wrong in front of Srila Prabhupada. I was so nervous practically, I couldn't even hear properly, but I was very happy to have been accepted by Srila Prabhupada. I knew, of course, there was no question of ever leaving the movement now. I never wanted to leave anyway, but now this was official. Even if I had considered it before, now there was no question of it. Then there was Joseph from New Orleans. What is his name? Prabhupada asked Arvinda. Arvinda read from a sheet. Bhagavad Das. Prabhupada smiled and said, Oh, Bhagavad Das, very good. There are two things. There is the book Bhagavad, Srimad Bhagavatam, and Bhagavad Gita, and the person Bhagavad, who follows perfectly those teachings. He is a living manifestation of the book Bhagavad, and you are Bhagavad Das. That means you are the servant of the book Bhagavad and the person Bhagavad. Bhagavad. I always wanted a name that meant I was the servant of the Guru. So when I heard this, I was very, very happy. Prabhupada started to hand me my beads, but then he pulled them back and asked, And what are the four regulative principles? So I told him, and he said, Very good. Then he went to hand me my beads again, but again he pulled them back. He asked, How many rounds do you chant? I was very proud because I had been chanting 20 rounds a day for about 5 months. So I sat up real straight and said, You are supposed to chant 16 rounds a day, Srila Prabhupada, but I chant 20. Srila Prabhupada just turned away from me and said, That's all right. It was like he was saying, Don't get puffed up. Then he turned to me and said, Here are your beads. Handing Dave his beads, Prabhupada said, Your name is Amarendra. This means the best of the immortals. He named Adrian Gayatri Dasi and Sam Subrata. When Subrata stood and Prabhupada noticed he was not wearing neck beads, he withheld the chanting beads and said, You have no neck beads? Where are your neck beads? Prabhupada turned to Bhagavad Das. You also have no neck beads? Bhagavad thought that Prabhupada was going to take his chanting beads back, so he hid them against his stomach. Then Prabhupada turned to the senior devotees in the room, criticizing. What is the matter with you? He said sternly. You are leaders and you don't know these things? Don't you know that you must put neck beads in giving initiation? The senior devotees were frightened by Prabhupada's anger. We are sorry, Prabhupada, someone said. Tomorrow for the fire yagna, they will have neck beads. Yes, Prabhupada said. You cannot do the fire yagna without neck beads. They must have neck beads. Although it was midnight, Prabhupada asked if the devotees had any questions. Bhagavad Das raised his hand. How is it that we are on a transcendental platform, but sometimes we are affected by the three modes of nature? It is just like you are on a boat, Prabhupada replied. If you are on the boat, then I cannot say you are not on the boat. Is it not? You are on a transcendental boat. Therefore, you are on the transcendental platform. You cannot say that you are not. But the waves are coming and they are rocking the boat. Prabhupada gestured with his hands like a boat rocking. So the waves of the material nature are coming, he continued, and they are rocking the boat. But when you become an expert boatman, then even in the greatest storm, you can stay steady and steer the boat and it will not rock. Well, how does one become an expert boatman? Bhagavat asked. You become expert, Prabhupada replied, by becoming enthusiastic, sincere, confident, determined, and patient. Seeing Bhagavat's anxious face, Prabhupada added, And you must be patient. Everything will come in due course. Sitting informally on the bed, in his abbreviated dhoti, Prabhupada had answered Bhagavat's question in such a way as to fully satisfy all the devotees. The devotees were already satisfied just to be with Srila Prabhupada. But by his answers to their questions, not only they, but all the devotees could take encouragement and be satisfied. They would tell the others what he had said, and everyone would cherish these instructions of Srila Prabhupada. Amarendra also had a question. Amarendra was intense and impassioned, and so was his inquiry. Before becoming a devotee, he had been a leader of campus radicals. So now, he wanted to bring that same intensity to bear in spreading Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada, Amarendra asked, how can we make them take to this Krishna consciousness? What can we say when we go to preach to the people? What can we say that will make them take it? His voice was heavy and forceful, demanding action. You simply ask them to please chant Hare Krishna, Prabhupada replied. Whether they take or not, that is their business. That is between them and Krishna. But you have done your business. You have done your duty for Krishna by simply asking them, please chant Hare Krishna. How do we take our minds away from Maya and bring them to Krishna? Radha Vallabha asked. You must drag the mind, Prabhupada said. You must drag the mind back to the sound vibration of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And again he repeated, you must drag the mind back to the sound vibration. All right, Prabhupada looked around. You are satisfied now? The devotees responded, Yes, Srila Prabhupada, thank you very much. Then they all left. It had been the greatest day and night of their lives. They all agreed, and they would never forget it. While Prabhupada rode to Jacksonville Airport in a car with a few disciples, the other devotees followed in their van, bringing the Vyasasan from the temple for Prabhupada to use at the airport. Srila Prabhupada closed his eyes and rested as he rode, and the devotees in the back seat of his car ate the remnants of his prasadam. Hridayananda. It was my idea to bring Prabhupada's Vyasasana to the airport. I was thinking, how can my spiritual master sit in the same seats that Karmis sit on? It just seemed impossible. How could Prabhupada put his lotus body? How could he sit on the same seats as the Karmis? I was very agitated by that. Amarendra had built the Vyasasana and he used to build everything like a tank. The Vyasasana must have weighed several hundred pounds. It took 4 or 5 devotees to carry it. So Prabhupada arrived first and the Vyasasan wasn't there. By the time he got to his boarding gate and the Vyasasan still wasn't there, I was in anxiety because I didn't want him to sit in a regular seat. I thought it would be a great offense on my part. Then as I looked down the long airport corridor, I saw 6 brahmacharis, half of them without their shoes on, lugging Prabhupada's Vyasasan down the corridor. It was such an absurd scene. Prabhupada just stood there looking in disbelief and disgust. And finally, several sweating, groaning brahmacharis came and dropped the Vyasasan down in front of Prabhupada. Prabhupada just looked at it with disdain, walked past it, and sat down in the ordinary seat. While most of the devotees sat at Prabhupada's feet, chanting the Guru Ashtaka prayers to the spiritual master, Vedananda was preaching to the people who were standing and watching the spectacle. He had some of Srila Prabhupada's books and he was trying to distribute them. Prabhupada gave more attention to this preaching than to the devotees seated at his feet. Having visited half a dozen cities in a little more than a month's time, Srila Prabhupada was planning next to visit London. Clearly, his field had become the entire world, and his traveling was the practical enactment of his conviction that Krishna consciousness should be given to people everywhere. By Prabhupada's wide traveling and bold preaching, the old idea that Bhagavad Gita and Krishna were only for the Hindus had become an anachronism, a prejudice. Barriers of race, religion, nation, sex, class, all were now down. The Hindu saying that Swami should not cross the ocean had become a superstition, intended perhaps to protest lesser Swamis, but certainly never to restrict the message of the absolute truth from being spread. Okay, I think we'll pause here. We'll continue from here tomorrow. Hare Krishna. All right, so Prabhupada in Gainesville, Florida, the remotest part of the world. Yes, and like Prabhupada's telling them again and again, same message, right? How to preach. And first of all, we have to develop all those qualities of humility, like the disciple was puffed up. He said, okay, I chant 20 rounds. Prabhupada said, okay, there's no fun. No need to get puffed up. Right? Humility is the first thing that we should develop. And whatever we are doing, it is because of the mercy of the Lord. It's because of the mercy of Srimati Radharani and Sri Guru that we are able to chant nicely, sitting at our homes or at the temple or wherever, and able to chant the holy names. It's also a mercy, very big mercy. Not everybody, like Prabhupada says, when you sell diamonds, everybody will not be able to purchase it. We are able to chant is because of some spiritual credit that we have accrued, or it could be some mercy, Agyat Sukriti. Sometimes we have just taken darshan of a holy saint, that gives us so much of spiritual credit. And because of that mercy, we are able to then chant. So it is all mercy. In Hindi, it says Kripa ka khel hai, right? Everything ultimately is the mercy of the Lord. So yeah, that humility we should have, should not get puffed up, and we should have patience. Of course, here we see Prabhupada is initiating them, like he's saying, with 6 months of practice, if they're following the 4 regulative principles and they're chanting the 16 rounds, and he's initiating them. But if you see Prabhupada's own life, he met a spiritual master in 1922, and it took him 11 years. It's 11 years of sadhana and practice before he was initiated by a spiritual master in 1933. Right? So like that. So it doesn't. So again, we should not be puffed up if we're getting initiation in 6 months or 1 year, and or if you're getting first initiation, second initiation. That is not the point. That we should always remain humble. That whatever we have is the mercy of Sri Guru, Shri Krishna, Shri Radha Krishna, that we are able to do this service. So very wonderful teachings by Srila Prabhupada. Even at midnight, he's initiating and he's sitting patiently answering their questions. We say patience, we should have patience. Again, see, we see again in all the practice and dealings of Prabhupada, practically how he has patience, right? Even at midnight, he could have very well told them, okay, let me rest. We will do this in the morning. But no, this is a pure devotee. 24/7, they're available for preaching the glories of the Lord, bringing sincere souls closer to Krishna. So for him it is, yeah, every second counts, and we see practically how he's enacting those principles of humility, tolerance, patience. Yeah. Okay, anybody else would like to share anything from today's reading?
Nice discussion, Prabhu. Really.
Hmm. Thank you, Naren Prabhu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all answers.
Hmm.
Interesting.
Everything is, like we said again, like everything is coming from Krishna, right? Krishna's original expansion is Balaramji and Radharani. So one is Sri Guru, another is the embodiment of love, right? He's the Ladini Shakti. So here the Guru is distributing the pure love of God, right? So again, all three are connected. Sat, Chit, and Anand. Krishna, that is Balaramji, Krishna, and Radharani, they're all connected. And we see how here Sri Guru is transmitting the pure love of God that is coming from Srimati Radharani, who is the embodiment. And yeah, it is just amazing. This world that we live in is full of Maya. Like when we were small kids, I remember we used to get those sometimes, when my friends or somebody would give those gifts. I'm sure all of you would remember, like in India, when we will get those gifts on birthdays. Sometimes some kids will play the trick. They will wrap up, like they'll wrap maybe take 10 or 20 layers. So one big box, you unwrap, then you again unwrap, then you again unwrap, again unwrap, keep on unwrapping, like you'll get tired. And ultimately in the end, you will see one small piece of gift inside, right? So like that. So like that, we have been covered in this world of Maya, unlimitedly, going through unlimited birth after birth, unlimited bodies, right? But inside, deep inside, we have the love of Srimati Radharani, who is appearing today at our center on Sri Radha Ashtami. That is the pure love of God. That's what Krishna says. Offer me anything, but with love and devotion, and I will accept it. So that is what he's looking for, which is there in each one of us, in the core of our hearts. But Maya Devi has made us forgotten that. But like Prabhupada said here, even though we are now very on the boat of transcendental boat, we just have to follow the practices, follow the process that has been given. Then we'll be able to remain steady in the boat, even though there will be waves of Maya that will come and storms of Maya will come. But if we are practicing what we have been taught by our acharyas, then we will remain steady. So I was telling Meenakshi Mani the other day, like, I was remembering that song from Tare Zameen Par. You remember that? Hopefully everybody has seen that movie. That small boy, who has dyslexia, he goes to he is left by his parents in an hostel, right? And then the ward of the hostel, that song, that very nice song that touches everybody's heart, as he sings, that मैं कभी बतलाता नहीं तेरी परवाह करता हूँ मैं माँ. So he sings for his mother, that, oh my mother, why have you left me here? So like that, we are struggling. Maya Devi is also serving. She's a servant of the Lord. She's devotee. She's also a mother. But that her seva is to keep us here in this world. And like that warden says, "Chalo beta, aa jao, abhi room mein jao, kapde badlo, khana khao." Right? So he's telling him. So like that, Maya Devi is telling us, "Aa jao beta, aa jao." Like she's telling all these souls, all of us, "Oh rotten soul, oh you're rotting in this material world. Come back here. Come to this material world, and jao kapde apne kapde badlo." Kapde badlo is like literally changing your bodies one after the other. And jao khana khao. Khana khao is like, okay, go and suffer the fruits, or eat the fruits of your karma, because we are doing so many karmas life after life and we are suffering. So like that, the Maya Devi is keeping us entangled in this world. But as a little boy, as pure devotee, pure child, innocent child, he calls out to his mother that, bheed mein yu na chodo mujhe. We have been left in this material world, by our Lordship Shri Shri Radharani as our eternal divine mother, and she has left us here. But he sings that, मुझे यहाँ पे मत छोड़ो कि मैं आपको याद भी ना आ पाऊँ. You have left me so far away. भेजना इतना दूर मुझको तू कि याद भी तुझको आना पाऊँ माँ. इतना दूर मुझे भेज दिया है आपने. You have left me so far away that maybe I think that you may not even be remembering me. But am I so bad? क्या मैं इतना बुरा हूँ माँ? Am I so bad that you have left me here? So, it just reminded me of that wonderful, it's like a prayer that anything we can use in Krishna's service. I was telling Meenakshi Mohini, even like, it's just pure, and in this world, the pure love, the purest of pure love is only between mother and a child, right? So that pure love of mother and child is the embodiment, is the reciprocation of Srimati Radharani in this world for us. So as that little child prays to his mother, we can pray to our eternal mother, Srimati Radharani, that please take me out of this miserable material world. Let me not get any more bodies, and that I may come back to you. And like we sang the Radha Ashtakam, that may I serve eternally the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna by the mercy of Sri Guru, like Srila Prabhupada, who has given us this wonderful process, wonderful philosophy, wonderful prasadam, wonderful Prabhupada, who has given us the link to get back to our wonderful Prabhu, Sri Krishna, Sri Radha. Hare Krishna. Okay, thank you so much. Any other thoughts before we conclude?
Yes, only the balance sheet should be zero, probably. Balance sheet, whenever it is negative, positive will keep coming, right? Because of the dues and desires, we keep coming and changing the bodies and taking incarnations, falling in the birth death cycle, body to body. But yeah, Radharani's mercy can only help us to bring from this Maya, God from this Maya.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Nalin Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you, dear devotees. So we'll end here, and we'll see you all today for the wonderful celebration of most auspicious Sri Sri Radha Ashtami at our center. Of course, Sri Radha Ashtami is tomorrow, so we'll be also fasting tomorrow. But yeah, today we'll have a wonderful celebration. His Grace Prem Vilas Prabhu will be giving a special festival talk, and we'll have some nice kirtans, bhajans, prasadam, and wonderful association of all the devotees. We come together and we celebrate. It has a different vibe and flavor. So thank you so much. We look forward to meeting you all. वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. अनंत कोटि वैष्णवृंद की जय. जगद्गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे. हरि हरि
Hare
बोल.
Hare Bol. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Have a great day, everyone.
Hare Krishna.